Hi everybody, this is Hatsmania. Today I decided to take Melodious to locals and I did really well. I got second place. Only lost to Voiceless Voice. My matchups were round 1 Pure Snake Eye, won that 2-1. Round 2 was Lab, 1-0, and then third round was Voiceless Voice, and lost 2-1. But let's get into the deck profile. Okay. So first, we're going to go over main engine first for the Melodious stuff. Again, this is pure. We played 3 Refrain. This is the Stratos for the deck. And then we played 3 Couplet, which, if you're not familiar with this is similar to Poplar, Snake Eye's Poplar. And basically, if you summon this, search this, you can just place it into the scale, search another card, or if you have another Melodious in your hand or graveyard, you can activate this when it's added to your hand by a card effect, special summon that monster. That is non-targeting, even if it's in the grave, which is super great. Also, it comes up a lot in the middle of a combo, so you can kind of play around Droll, as well as increase attack is the pendulum effect of this. Being able to dump a card to increase by like usually 1,000, because I dump a couplet a lot of the time, allows you to do an OTK with one of the Melodious fusions, as well as adding it back to your hand with another one of the Melodious monsters, so you can trigger effects. So if you fusion summon, place this in the scale, target it, send couplet, basically just get to add couplet back to your hand later, which is super, super great. And the fact that they get to rescale themselves whenever you fusion summon is insane. They chain block, they just do everything with this deck to make it really, really, really strong, and they just fixed a lot of issues. Okay. For the extenders, we're playing 3. I'm only playing 2 Sonata and 1 Cannon. I've seen a lot of people with pure Melodious at least play only 3 Sonata and not Cannon at all, or just 2 of this. In my opinion, if you're going to be playing only 3 extenders, you might as well just sub out 1 for this, because there are some hands where you're really susceptible to things like Droll, and if you happen to have couplet and a way to refrain, instead of searching something else, you can search couplet, and in that way you don't lose to Droll. Because at that point you can also just make a rank 4 if you think that you're going to be losing to something else, like Baguska or Dweller. And on top of that, you can make Baguska and Dweller later in the game. That actually did come up against Lab. I made Dweller against them in game 2. For the other cards, we're playing 2 Soprano. This card's crazy. This is, in my opinion, a competing normal summon for Refrain. There are ways to get it out otherwise. Pendulum summon, special summoning it off of other effects. Being able to add something back is like super great. Granted, that's only hard once per turn. The fusion summon effect being more than once per turn is also crazy. I think the most I fusion summon with this, at least in testing, I think was 3 times in 1 turn. I think the most I did it today was twice. However, if you're looping it like that, you're probably winning the game. 1 Tam Tam. So I've seen people cut Tam Tam. Tam Tam's in my opinion the craziest card in the deck. It is neither of its effects are hard once per turns, or once per turns period. If it's special summon, you get to add a poly from either your graveyard or your deck to your hand. So I've looped this multiple times, being able to just keep adding the poly from the graveyard after I've used it or discarded it, which usually I discard it for the link to, and then bring this back, add it back, and then fusion summon with it. And then the burn effect, having a card that lets you win in time, super important, but also it helps you OTK sometimes. So this is really, really strong. This is not standard. I am playing the 1 Aria. I was expecting some Tempai today, but also I knew that there were Lab players as well as cash players at my locals. Only play the 1 Lab player, but basically not being able to be targeted is really strong right now. Also, one play that I have done, not today, but I have done, is that if I have just Ostinato and like all hand traps, for example, and they imperm the Botcha off the Ostinato, I can just go to end phase, Ostinato effect, whatever fusion summons gets destroyed during the end phase, and then this comes back off of the Botcha effect. So and that way I have at least a shot at not dying. But the targeting effect is really relevant. Against Lab, they had to call by this when I tried to summon it, because otherwise they just straight up lost, which was really funny. For the last Melodious monster, the one main decked Maestra. Yeah, Safina's like pretty decent. I did add back Herald of the Orange Light with this one time. But yeah, this card's just, it fits so well with everything else. Yeah, it's just good. Part of your combo. For the Melodious spells, we're playing 3 First Movement Solo, 3 Ostinato, and then the 1 Concerto. Basically, these are 1-card starters. Obviously, you want to see Ostinato as often as possible in your opening hand. This card's actually just bonkers in every single way possible. It's just Brand Fusion. That's all it is. The fact that it can also summon any fairy monster is also kind of relevant. I've tested El Shaddai Construct before, and it's been like fine. I didn't play it today, but it's like okay. And then Solo is a 1-card combo. This is the worst one. Locking you into Melodious very early in the turn is not ideal, but if you're going first, it really doesn't matter. So if you see it going first, great. If you don't, whatever. The Concerto, though, insane card. Being able to use your Pendulum monsters as material for fusion summoning is crazy, and then you just get to bring them back because that's how the Pendulum monsters work. Is insane. I was looping this once a turn back into the deck to draw a card every turn, so it's basically just I was drawing 2 every turn at the start of my turn. It was crazy indeed. The 1 Polymerization, you do need to play 1 when you're playing Tam Tam. In my opinion, you only need to play 1 because you can still fusion summon without this. It's not required to play, but I do like it. Fusion Substitute is also like fine instead of this. I like being able to fuse from my hand because there are just some hands where you have to use the materials in your hand, especially with interaction from your opponent. However, I can understand if you want to play Fusion Substitute to get the extra draw and the recursion. So, yeah, the 1 Poly was fine. For hand traps, I played 12. We played 3 Herald. Whenever this resolved, unless the one time it got called by, it was insane. This card was absolutely crazy. Ghost Ogre, this card was also crazy today. This was really good against Voiceless. Pretty decent against Snake Eyes, and I think the only time I didn't see it was against Lab, and I did have it in my hand, but there was no real good way to use it, so I ended up siding it out. I also played Veiler, so Veiler's got 2 uses in this version that I'm playing. Veiler is a bridge for Small World, spoiler alert. It's the best one possible because the only stat that connects it is light, which is perfect. I could only really side it out 1 copy if I ever needed to side it out, though, which does cause some siding complications, but it ended up being fine. But when I saw Veiler, it was pretty good. And then 3 Imperm, I think this is the best hand trap, single target hand trap at least, that's possible. Was not playing Nib today. I think that's the only one that I kind of wish I was playing, other than what I had on my side. But yeah, everything else was good. For the other utility cards, I'm playing 3 Small World. This is a 1.5 card combo, so full combo at least. So that's why I play it. I could see myself cutting this down to 2, because I did see this just a little too often, I think. But it was fine. Whenever I needed it. Being able to search Herald of the Orange Light was also really important. So it was like I was playing 6 of it, so that was good. I did like being able to do that, and it made my hands way better in those scenarios. Sometimes it was just dead, but whatever. You can just discard it off the link if it is. Next, we are playing 3 Thrust in main deck. Yeah, this is not a budget version. However, this was insane today. I saw this a couple times. I did search Ostinato off of it. Yeah, I really like this main. This makes the going second way better. So I probably would never take this out. And then I also played the 1 talent, and I played Necrofusion. So going second, you search this. Going first, you search this. So going first, the reason why I play Necrofusion is that if I get nibbed, or if I'm put in a position where I can't really end on a full end board, but I was interacted with a monster, I can at least search this and then go plus. I think the most I've ever plussed off this card is 4. This card's just crazy good when it does resolve. Minimum, you're plussing 2. That's, like, if I get nibbed and I'm able to, like, not die, that's great. Yeah, very strong. And then talent is talent, so never mad to see it in my hand or if I have to search it. For the extra deck, for the Melodious cards, we played one of the Link 2. I know that's not very standard, but it's very easy to recur. You have a lot of cards that just say add a Melodious back to your hand. You can add this back, and it's perfectly fine. I never really felt like I needed more than the one today. I think the only time I actually summoned it twice, I was able to loop it back, and it was fine. I was very ahead in card advantage, though. If you're summoning this twice in a duel, I think you should be winning, so I think 1 is fine. 2 at 12, the new one. So this is the boss monster. Being able to non-target bounce is insane. Like a lot of people just didn't know how to play around this. It's unfortunate because like Voiceless is very difficult for this deck because putting cards back into their hand is not ideal. I'd rather be able to spin them to deck or just banish them. But being able to recur Schuberta is super, super good. So kind of like the partner in crime here. Being able to banish and then 3 from grave and then recur it back during the end phase, absolutely insane. Schuberta is the reason why I won a lot of my matches. This eats slab like crazy. It's really good against Snake Eyes, and it does have a lot of applications against Voiceless. Being able to banish the ritual spell from graveyard is actually really important because then it means they can't float. It's not as good now with blessings, but it's still very, very strong. They can only recur 1 card at a time. If you banish 3, they have to choose. The Etoile being removed from field did come up too. Being able to ban it, I actually summoned another Schuberta off of this against Lab. Actually just insane. We played 2 Botcha. This is the heart and soul of the extra deck. I only had room for 2. The extra deck space for me was really tight. There's a lot of utility I really, really wanted to play. I found this to be fine. I never really missed the 3rd, and if I did, I just could recur it back. So, wasn't mad about it. Yeah, 2 was perfectly fine. I can see myself going to 3 at some point, possibly, but I found 3 to do the job. For the last 2 fusions, we played 1 Bloom Prima and 1 Bloom Diva. So Diva, I did not summon all day. Did not come up. Wasn't really good in any of the matchups that I had, except possibly Voiceless. However, I was not able to extend to that point, so it didn't matter just because of how the games went. However, theoretically, this is very, very strong. It outs just a lot of things. So, yeah, I was very... like, it's fine. It's not coming out. And then Bloom Prima, I use this like every match. The recursion effect came up once, and that's because I was stupid and I missed lethal because I forgot that Refrain's effect can increase attack. I ended up winning that game anyway, but that was the only time it came up. The real effect that comes up is that it OTKs. You clear their field with a Etoile, summon this, and then you refrain, give it another 1,000, and it's basically just attack twice per game. That's it. For the rest of the extra deck, I played like 6 cards that were more of a utility. 1 Dweller, 1 Baguska for the rank 4s. These are what I was talking about with Refrain, Search, Cannon earlier. I did make Dweller. That was against... it basically just kind of closed out the game against Lab. Other than that, I didn't really use it. Never had to go into Baguska today. However, I don't think I would cut these. I think these are just a little too strong to not play. So, yeah. I played, for removal, I played the one Moon, and the one SP Little Knight. This could easily come out for something else if you don't want to like drop whatever, how much it costs now, 3 digits. This could easily be Azalea. In fact, I'm probably going to cut it for Azalea because Azalea came up more than this. It's very difficult going first to make this. You're making this late game if you are. And at that point, it really doesn't matter. I would much rather have the utility of having Azalea to pop Floodgates than this, because generally speaking, I didn't feel the need to play this at all. The Moon, however, possibly could have come up. There are a few players. I know there is a Ubel player. Shout out to Dov. And there's also a couple of other players that do play back row. This deck does lose to Skill Drain. So being able to out Skill Drain very easily with this is very, very important. This also outs Necro Valley, which you do need removed. The fact that it clears itself too after popping a card is very important because that allows you to use Ostinato or First Movement solo after the fact. So yeah, that's very strong. For the last 2 cards, this deck has a very hard time outing towers. So I played Underworld Goddess. I do think this is necessary to play. You really just don't have an out to things like Noir, or even like the big Raid Raptor guy naturally in your deck. You can put 4 monsters on board, and like, for example, with Raid Raptor, they're not really going to do much in order to stop you because they're like, oh yeah, what are you going to summon? Pearly is just a rough matchup for this deck because of Noir, at least going second. Going first, you actually have your favored, but I felt like this was necessary to play. There are Pearly players at my locals. Did not play it against today, which was fine. And the last card I played was Cross Sheep. This is in place of the second copy of the Melodious Link. I thought this was good in theory. I never summoned it. Not being locked into Melodious is sometimes very important. And being able to have access to this is also really good, I think, because it allows you to make some pushes that normally you wouldn't be able to make otherwise. So I think in theory this will be staying here. But yeah, it's fine. Like, I didn't use it, but it's there. For the side deck, I set a lot of cards in for my side. There were a few that I did not use, but most of the side deck came up today. Playing 3 Purple Light. This deck loses hard to D-Barrier. I do think this is mandatory to side because of that. This also loses the Simul Archfiends, so which is a bit of a pain in the ass for this deck. So I think this is a mandatory side card, at least for games 2 and 3. Don't need it for game 1, but games 2 and 3 you definitely need. This is necessary. It did come up, and I did see it. I actually drew it off talent. Aside of the 3 Ash, this also could have been Nib. I kind of think that I would have preferred Nib. I did not see Ash all day. Nib's a better bridge for Small World than Ash. Ash only works as a bridge if you open it. Because you can bridge into Valor and then into whatever you want off of that. However, Nib is a little bit more flexible than this. Did side this in. Did not. I think I saw it once, and it was not good when I did see it. But yeah, I feel like this needs to be in the list currently for matchups like Branded, or even Lab. I did side this against Lab and didn't see it. So, yep. And then the rest of the deck, or the extra decks, for the rest of the side, I did play a lot of thrust targets and back row removal. So we played 2 Cosmics, Harpy's Feather Duster, and an Evenly Match for going second, as well as Herald of the Abyss and Dark Ruler No More. These were all the going second options. I saw Cosmic today. I actually saw both. I opened one and I drew into the second one. Did not use any of these. Theory is there, though. This is the search against Pearly. You cannot out the Noir consistently. Once they know you have Underworld Goddess, they will not allow you to get to Underworld Goddess. So you do need to be able to search this. This deck has a really hard time playing into build-a-board decks. So, like, for example, Blackwing, there is a Blackwings player that comes to my locals. If I do not consistently stop him in the correct places, which is sometimes really difficult to do because it's not linear, this helps out that board. Evenly is really good against Voiceless. Did side this in against Voiceless, did not see it. Harpy's Feather Duster, just generically very strong. So, yeah. For the last 3 cards, these again were thrust targets. They had their different uses, and I'll go into that. D-Bear, everyone knows this card. Did see this. I searched it off thrust against Voiceless, and it won me that game. Very strong, and the other 2 are not normal. We played 1 Simul Archfiends, was testing this, did not come in. Magic Deflector, also tested it, did not come in. So in theory, I was expecting maybe there was a Tempai player, because Tempai is, without Trident Dragion, very cheap. This beats that deck. They cannot kill you if you activate this on them, regardless if they go the Synchro line or the Link line, unless you have an open board to begin with. So if you have this and you're able to get to Arya, you're not dead. You will never die. Doesn't matter if they switch to attack with a level 10. Arya straight up just walls them unless they remove it by other means. Their extra deck, the only way they can is Black Rose. And if they're making Black Rose on you, that is not ideal. That means they're probably not killing you. But Simul Archfiend basically says once they summon a monster from the extra deck, they can't summon another monster of that extra deck type. So if they summon a fusion monster, for example, they can't summon another fusion monster. So it just locks them out of doing that. The only deck that's relevant right now that's really this is not good against is Voiceless. So that's why I cited both, because this does beat Voiceless. This also beats Branded. A lot of them are siding D-Barrier for Crossout. And they are not siding for this. And it just kind of ends their turn. You let them fusion summon, you flip this, and then they're done. And then Magic Deflector, in theory, is very, very strong this format. This could easily have been something else. But there's a lot of quick plays, a lot of field spells, and a lot of continuous spells that are very, very, very strong right now. So I felt like this was worth possibly running in case I ran into situations like that. Also turns off like random floodgates like Deck Lockdown, which does beat this deck. Pearly is playing that because they can play through it. Yeah, this also beats Pearly, so that's another reason for going first. Both of these do anyway. So yeah, that's the deck profile. Thank you guys for watching, and don't be afraid to give it a like. And have a great day. Bye!